from Sui Generis Brewing here, and welcome to the third episode in my little mini-series on the effects of different yeast on the same beer. If you haven't seen the first video, the Coles Notes version of this is I teach a course, and part of that course has some sections on sort of commercial fermentation, yeast-based microbiology, and as part of that course I brew a beer that I ferment with multiple different types of yeast so that the students can, at least from the perspective of aroma, see what impact some of these different yeasts have on the character of the resulting beer. So this video is about the sample that I prepare to talk about fusel alcohols. Now, fusel alcohols are generally considered to be an off-flavor, but they are also quite important in the production of certain esters that in many cases really characterize the particular style of beer being produced. Now, one of the difficulties from the perspective of a course like the one that I run when it comes to fusels is because they're an off-flavor, they're actually hard to generate. I'm sure some of you have experienced the off-flavors in the past and they just appear out of nowhere. And it maybe is a bit surprising, but sometimes trying to make them deliberately is quite challenging. And of course, the flip side to that is I do end up with bottles of beer afterwards, and it's always nice if they're enjoyable, and something that tastes like rocket fuel would probably not be very enjoyable. So as sort of a cheat, what I've done instead is I've used a yeast that makes an ester that's dependent on a fairly unique fusel alcohol, and I'll get back to that in a second. But first up, what are fusels and why do yeast make them? Well, fusel alcohols are longer chain alcohols than ethanol. Ethanol is a 2-carbon alcohol. All the fusel alcohols are 3 or more carbons in length. And they're made from amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. And somewhat counterintuitively, they are made by yeast when protein levels are low. So it's a little counterintuitive. Why would you make something that degrades the very thing you're starting to run out of? But yeast do this for 2 very good reasons. The first reason is it depletes certain pathways in the cells that sort of allows the yeast to be more efficient with the amino acids that it does have. So you sort of sacrifice a few amino acids in order to sort of better manage your biochemistry to make the best use of the ones that are left. But the other thing that fusel alcohols do, at least some of them, is they act as what's called a quorum sensing factor or a quorum factor. And these are chemicals that many microbes produce, including yeast, that are ways that these cells talk to each other. You know, we think of yeast as being single-celled organisms, and they are single-celled organisms, but they still talk to each other and communicate. And quorum sensing factors are one of the major pathways for doing that. And so these quorum sensing factors, these fusel alcohols, are being produced as these yeast enter sort of a stressful starvation type environment, or at least once they consume the nutrients and start to get into that sort of an environment. And when the concentration of these chemicals get high enough, the yeast start to change their behavior. They will slow down or even stop dividing. They will begin accumulating carbohydrate stores. They will begin producing other carbohydrates that help protect them from dehydration. And so again, by sacrificing a small amount of amino acids, they can communicate with each other and better prepare themselves as a population for the bad times. So the particular fusel alcohol that I prepared for my course is isoamyl alcohol, which probably sounds familiar to some of you. It's very close to isoamyl acetate, which is an ester produced by Hefeweizen yeast that has sort of a banana character. And I'm going to talk about esters in the next video and how they're made and where they come from. But long story short, before you can have isoamyl acetate, the banana ester, you have to have isoamyl alcohol. Now, isoamyl alcohol in very small amounts can have a pear to banana-like character, but in anything over trace amounts, it's really just very unpleasant, solventy, almost gasoline-like chemical. So it's not something you would normally want much of, but the ester form is, in some styles of beer at least, a desired product. So with that, let's pour this beer and see what we have. And as in the other videos, we're comparing it to the same wort, fermented with W3470, very common lager yeast, and the base beer itself is a Czech style Pilsner. So yeah, just pouring that out. Probably should have done this on some of the earlier videos, but you can see there, brilliantly clear, nice Pilsner color. And I mean, you smell that if you've ever had a Hefeweizen or fermented with 3068, you know exactly what this smells like. It smells like bananas. It is also POF positive yeast, so there's a little bit of a clove character there. I mean, I don't even need to smell the lager to pick up those differences. You know, that's quite different. And obviously there is a bit of a yeasty aroma to it as well, in addition to that banana and clove-like note. And so of course let's go with the flavor here. Yeah, I mean, it's what you would expect. Obviously this isn't a Hefeweizen. I will say, because this is a Pilsner style base beer, the amount of hop character is kind of in excess, and the banana flavor and that sort of spicy herbal note from the sauce hops does not seem to work very well with each other, at least not at the level that it's present here. But it's not a bad beer by any stretch of the imagination. But of course we have our control. We might as well take a sip of that. This is a great beer. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic Czech style Pilsner, strong sauce hop character, nice bready Pilsner malt character, and basically that's it. That's the beer. So again, quite a big difference in character just by changing out the yeast. And a good example of what Fusel alcohols can lead to under good circumstances. Obviously, under other circumstances, instead of giving you banana, it gives you rocket fuel, which we generally speaking don't enjoy. So anyways, thank you again for joining me. This was a fairly short one, but I hope you're finding this little series interesting. There are 2 more videos to come. I've been talking a lot about esters, and next video we will actually look at esters and talk about what they are and where they come from. And for the final video, we'll be looking at biotransformation. But until then, I'm Brian. Thanks again for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next time.